What is up, everybody? It's me, Duke Farley, back at it again here on Lost at Sea, and I am joined tonight by the sixth person voted out of Ascendance Live Season 3. Fan favorite, Emily. What is going on? Thank you for joining me
Hi.
this evening. How are you?
I am great, Duke. I'm so excited to be talking to you. I was hoping I wouldn't have to talk to you this early in the season, but shit happens. But how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm also super excited to talk to you about everything that went down. I think you were an integral part of this pre-jury phase, so I'm excited to get some questions answered that I've been thinking about to ask you. So excited to have you back on.
Gotcha. Like I said before, let's get it going.
All right. So let's get it going. I wanted to ask you, you came out the gate pretty hot. You got the first captain, you got a huge advantage, an advantage that we've never seen before in this game. Was that your intention? Was your intention to go in, and win the first captain and, you know, kind of make some moves right from the get-go?
Absolutely the fuck not. If you watch my face the entire time they're reading votes, I'm literally like, don't say my name. Don't say my name. And I was in pure and utter shock that I won first captain. Um, but sadly, I mean, I guess it was a wolf in sheep's clothing kind of thing. I was sitting right next to Josh and Ali, and all I did was like smile at them. I complimented Ali's outfit, and they were both like, "Yep, Emily's vibe. Let's vote for them." And then after the tie five-way tie thing, people were jumping on that train, and I was like, "Oh shit."
So were you aware that that is a staple of Ascendance where they do that blind pick kind of thing?
Yes, I was fully expecting it, but I wasn't expecting us to have such little information from each other. Because in the past seasons, they get a second to talk and all that kind of stuff. Our season, we literally walked in, we did our whole like little spill of like our name, our age, something fun about us. And then they're like, okay, time to vote. And it just drew us all off guard completely. Did I think I had like even the slightest chance of winning that? No. That's why I was like in pure shock that it actually happened.
Now, when you won that first one, was there any strategy between who you picked to be on your squad?
So yes, I want to start off being a little safe. That's why I picked Josh, who was right next to me. I picked AJ and CJ. I picked people who were close to me, so people didn't think like, oh, she's picking these people. Of course, I wanted Billy on my team because Billy is like, he looked like the biggest physical person. And then I also wanted to throw in a couple wild cards. So I had intentions with my things, but it was a lot literally. I had a very fluttered mind during this, and it went so fast. Cause like I would want somebody, and then Madison would pick them, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Then you go on my team. So yeah, that's kind of what went through my head.
Yeah, and it was an exciting first round. Obviously, you guys then have this you know, play games kind of thing, and there's cards that you acquire can you run through how you ended up getting the Ascendance advantage? It was based off of cards that you guys were playing with, right?
Yeah, so pretty much they had three games, which I still own because I won the games. That's what we
Nice.
thought winning. And I'm a big game person, but pretty much we went down, and if you won the game, you get a playing card, and that counts as a point. I don't think anybody really wanted to win. I think it's more we were just having fun playing games, being social. I did not understand the other two games one bit. Like they confused the living hell out of me. So I
Okay.
suck at that one game up top where it's like you just slap the cards really fast. And since I'm a very competitive person, I just kind of kept going for it. And I ended up winning the most cards. And turns out if you won the most cards, you not only won the games, you won the Ascendance advantage, which nobody knew about.
But did you tell anybody about that Ascendance advantage throughout the game?
Yes, but not. I didn't tell them the first day or the second day. I told them literally the third day, like it was about right, I guess, in between the finding out my team lost and we're going to a double elimination, and then Emily versus the Coliseum.
Hmm.
I did tell Josh, and then I told CJ. Only because I had a final two with Josh and I had a final two with CJ.
Right.
Then the day I did, my hands were a little more tied, and to ensure my safety, I did tell Ollie and Billy to gain trust.
Okay. And did you tell them exactly what it was, like how it grew with power between each day?
Yes, because I didn't want one of them to tell the other person some misinformation and then it going a little crazy. I
Right.
didn't tell them exactly what each thing meant, except for Josh, but I did tell them, like, oh, it grows.
Yeah. Are you surprised watching these episodes back and seeing some of Josh's content and like his confessionals and how kind of ruthless he is?
So, Josh, I really hope you're watching this because you know the amount of times I've yelled at you on Snapchat after an episode. I'm like, oh God, you're a fucking ass snake, you little bitch, kind of stuff like that. You'd be like, you said what about me? You're threatening Ali with an invisible knife. Like,
He does that a
oh,
lot.
Josh, you were like this like little nerdy accountant boy, and you're like, excuse me?
So you're surprised seeing some of this come out in the episodes.
Yeah, because like obviously I left before all like that drama that happened, like with that whole like fight thing between him.
Yeah.
But I had no idea about like this whole like sneaking and all that kind of stuff. He did tell me about Billy's pendant, and we did like I knew that Josh had a little villainous side because me and him were planning on making a fake advantage, throw Keaton off his game, and we fully almost did it until he got caught. Like I knew that Josh was a villain, and he knew that I was a villain, so kind of like it was a toxic relationship that was gonna work in the game if I would have made it farther. But yeah,
Um,
I was shocked.
yeah, I think a lot of us are shocked and we want to see what happens. But I want to talk about, you mentioned, I have a couple questions for you, but there's one that I think everybody's probably dying to know. The Coliseum, right? I think was a huge, people are saying the biggest fight in Ascendance life history. Not fight, disagreement, we're referring to it, right?
Oh, it was.
It was. Um, and I mentioned the night after that episode that I thought that it was an impossible kind of situation for you, but you made it out pretty well, I thought. How, let's hear your side of the story, like how it happened, and do you think things were kind of blown out of proportion?
Oh, absolutely. So, like I said, you know how people say there's two sides to every story?
Hmm.
It had 13 sides to a story. And what happened that night is after we found out that there was going to be a double elimination and there are four people vulnerable on each team. You're telling me that people were just like, okay, see ya, good night. I was like, oh, hell no. Why is everybody going to bed? And I'm like, I didn't say it like that. So I was like, okay, they can go to bed. It's fine. And then I go upstairs and I'm like just joking around with I forgot even who. I'm like, oh, people are going to bed. That's kind of whack. Like as a joke, as a joke. I literally said, I was like, oh, that's kind of whack. And they blew that out of proportion. And then anytime that somebody's like saying like, oh, Emily said that she's a monster for saying that, I'm like, I said that I'm a party girl and I don't like sleep. That's just me.
I remember you saying that in your preseason interview.
Yeah, I'm a party girl and I don't sleep. That's just me. I wasn't going to like force people to stay awake. Them staying awake was their choice at that point. So while they were doing that, I was making alliances. I was trying to save my name, but they started like talking and saying stuff like, "Oh, but Emily threw out this name." Emily, they were like trying to like give each other information, but their information was mainly inaccurate. And they didn't have a name to point it to. They're like, huh, who's somebody that we can throw this information to? Let's throw it on Emily because she's the person who's the most sus right now. And obviously, nobody's going to be like, oh, that's actually me. Like, so I was just the easy person to fight. Then at one point, I was upstairs, like in the little patio space, And Rory comes out, and Rory looks like super flustered, and like he's like, Emily, they're like talking downstairs. I'm like, about what? I'm like, about you. I'm like, my face dropped. I'm like, excuse me. So I tried to ignore the situation. Like this was like a 6 hour thing that went on before I
Jeez.
actually. I maybe I'm exaggerating, but like it like 3 hours
Okay.
where I'm just like going back and forth. Like I'm like, okay, do I confront somebody about it? Obviously, they're not asleep still. The lights are completely on, and I decide to go eavesdrop for a second just to like make sure, make sure that things are being come like told to me properly because I don't like playing the game of telephone. I hate games where people take words that other people say instead of coming to the person.
CJ's not a big fan of telephone either.
Oh yeah, I could tell. But I was listening to the conversation. I kept hearing my name and she and her. The only girl who wasn't in that room was Kira. I'm like, they're not talking about Kira. They are not talking about Kira. So
Mm.
then I finally decide to like go in, get my makeup wipes, and then when I hear them get completely quiet, I'm like, fuck this shit. Let me go talk to one of them. And that's when you get the clip of me saying, hey, can we talk? And Audie's like, talk right here. And in my head, I'm like, I don't want to, but okay. And then is born Emily versus the Coliseum. That disagreement was about 45 minutes long. Like I know they had to like pack it down, but it was 45 minutes long. And like I said, a lot of the stuff they were saying was not accurate. The only thing that I would take ownership that they said was correct was me throwing out Rocky's name. Me throwing out Sarah's name does not make sense because I did not vote that round. So I thought it was kind of shitty for them to say it was me. Them saying I threw out Ozzy's name. Why would I throw out Ozzy's name? I also did not have a part in that vote. So like they were saying stuff out of proportion and they were playing a game of telephone themselves and none of the things were adding up. My biggest thing was them trying to interrogate me on the facts like I want the exact time, name, date, like you said this or
Yeah.
this conversation happened. And I barely knew these people's names. We have
Right.
only been in the house for like one day. So yeah, I couldn't remember certain names and things like that. And they used that against me. So I was under pressure and then I had to remember stuff that I couldn't.
Well, I thought that you came out pretty like you did the best that you could with what you were dealt. And again, impossible situation, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, the main players in this kind of disagreement were yourself, Ozzy, Madison, and then a little bit of kind of like Sarah. But the
Mm-hmm.
three that I wanted to talk about was, the three of you that were on the wine reward. Was that ever like a top like alliance interest for you, or was that kind of just like we were on this reward, and it didn't go anywhere from there?
I think it had potential to, but the fact that like we never had a vote where all three of us were voting, it was kind of hard for us to all get into a room together and just have a conversation.
Yeah.
We did have a little signal thing as like, oh, we're ever in a room with somebody we don't trust, flip your hair kind of thing.
Mm.
But since we weren't ever in votes together, it was hard to keep that. Obviously, me and Madison tried that first round because we were both talking like multiple times. But then after that, I don't think I've ever had like any big conversations with Ozzy or Madison after that fully. It
Yeah.
was just hard to find people, get them in a room because you only had like 20 minutes to discuss.
Right. And I want to talk about another alliance that I keep butchering throughout the season, but you did correct me the other night on who was in it, which is the No Fear Alliance. And Rory, yourself, CJ, Josh, and Ali.
Yes, you got it
Was
right.
that was that who you would say your allegiance was primarily to? Because we only get a couple glimpses of that group being together. And then obviously you get voted out, some of the people being in on that from that alliance.
For the time being, yes. I wanted to have like a solid, like larger quote unquote alliance because I thought that that could have helped me last a couple rounds. But it's very hard to keep track of a large alliance. I've had many alliances within that, and that's why I was okay with forming that. With that, I had a final two with CJ and a final two with Josh. Me and CJ had a alliance name called Good Gravity, so I knew that one was tight. Me and Rory had an agreement, and then Ali wasn't gonna vote me in my eyes, so it felt like a safe bet for me to have that group. But like I said, it's really hard to get a large amount of people in a room.
Yeah. So ultimately, we see your elimination, right? Where you get voted out, and the only person that votes alongside you is CJ, but you do use your ascendance advantage to steal a vote. Um, were you shocked with some of the people that maybe were a part of that No Fear Alliance kind of voting you out?
Yes, yeah, I was shocked that Josh voted me out. I'm shocked that Ali budged. I knew that Rory had a chance of voting me, not because he wanted to, but more the fact that he knew that he was going to constantly be in danger because he always saw himself as an easy vote, which obviously, if you watch the season so far, Rory's name gets thrown out almost every round, just like as a backup vote.
Yeah.
So he was doing that to save him, but I was just shocked on a couple people, like Josh and Ali specifically. It kind of hurt me to see them vote me out. And then they didn't seem to want to look me in the eye after they did it. So that sort of sucked.
Yeah. How was it going into the pre-jury house with like Adam? Was that fun?
I'm not gonna lie. I love the vote out villa. Like, yeah, when I walked in, Adam started clapping right away because Adam's like, fuck yeah, person who voted me out. Like, if you voted Adam out and you entered a vote out villa, Adam would cheer his ass off. that that's just how he was. He was like instant karma, like, and it just so happened that everybody who was currently in the vote out villa voted him out.
There was a lot of people that voted him out, to be fair.
Yeah. So, but Adam's still a big sweetheart, and he was like, "So I know that you don't have a bed anymore. You can sleep in my bed again." So we stayed bed buddies.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, and I love Adam. Like I know that it made it seem like we hate each other, but I always have a soft spot for him, and I promised him I would say like a stupid little line. So it's out of context, but just so you know, Adam, the British are still exploding. Anyways, the vote
I
out
don't
villa
know.
was yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Me and Connor are like best friends in that villa. I've been wanting to meet Connor for like years. We've been friends for a while. It's just it had sadness and it had like some like regretful feelings, but the hospitality that was in that house just made you feel like it's okay to lose. It's okay not to make it far. I had Melissa, who also got the same placement as me in that house with me. And she was like, well, only iconic ass females get this placement. I'm like, you damn right we do.
Yes.
So
Um, I do want to ask you, Emily, about before we conclude or start to close out, I want to ask you about you do find the half pendant of power on your way out, and you say that you're going to take it for a souvenir. Was there any, did you think about giving that to anybody on your way out, or were you taking that with you the entire time?
I had a million scenarios I could have done with this. So, first thing I could have done with it is I could have given it to CJ. But then I didn't think it would be an advantage for him. It's a half pendant. So not only is it a target on his back, but it's also not worth anything until you find the other half.
Yeah.
Then I could have given it to like Josh or whatever, but fuck them, they didn't deserve it. Look, if I had to go find it, you had to go find it too. Keep looking in the bushes, Josh. And then my last decision This one I debated for so long on. After I found it, I was actually gonna go throw it in the pool outside
That'd be fun.
because nobody's gonna look in the pool. And then when I left, I was gonna be like, "Oh, by the way, there's a half pendant in the pool. Have fun." Purely for my entertainment to see who would try to go run to the pool and go grab the pendant. It's just obviously sitting there.
That would have been good TV.
The rule of the game is if the pendant is still in the house, it's up for grabs, even if the
Okay.
person found it left.
Okay.
So in the end, I'm like, if I had to work to find it, you guys have to as well. I didn't feel like anybody deserved to be handed a pendant or handed any sort of power when I was just betrayed by so many of you guys.
Yeah.
And it felt like a fair choice. I know that some people were mad that I did that, but I did that for myself.
Alrighty. So the other question that I had for you, Emily, was um obviously we see in your boot episode that CJ tells people that you have a pendant of power, and it's from what we're told on the episode, he was trying to help you. Did you think that that was true in the time that you were playing the game, and then do you know now, like, that he was actually trying to help you, or do you think that was not really helpful?
So I knew it was trying to help me now.
Okay.
It told me in advance that he was doing that because when I was told in a big group of people, CJ saying people you have a pendant, I didn't know what he was doing with that.
Right.
Uh, so I didn't know if I should be like, yeah, I have a pendant, try to vote me out, or it should have been like, no, no, I don't have a pendant. Like I needed to prepare myself for hearing that because obviously that came out of nowhere. That episode was let's make up a bunch of shit about Emily episode, honestly.
Yeah. It was funny watching it. We were talking about it, and we were just never really sure why he ended up trying to do that. Did he? Yeah,
I
but
did it try to either get the votes off of me
mhm,
and it like went to somebody else, and that's why you'll hear people trying to make a split at that point because they weren't confirmed if I had a pendant or not. I wish I had a pendant. I wish I would have told Rory about my half pendant because I'm pretty sure he would have given it to me.
yeah.
I told him, but it's hard to get in a room with one person because somebody else is gonna go knock on that door 2 seconds later. Like, you don't get how impossible it is to talk one on one to somebody in this game. It drove me insane.
Well, Emily, before I ask you my last question, is there anything up to this point that we have not covered that you want to talk about?
Mm, yeah, honestly, um, I just wanna. I don't feel like I need to defend my game too much, but I think I, for how far I actually got, I played a good ass game. Like, I don't think many people in Ascendance history can say that they did as much as I did with the amount of time I had. Anytime I hear somebody like say, like even on one of your podcasts that like, oh, Emily doesn't know what she's doing, or Emily's this, or Emily's that, I just want to remind you guys, I not only won the first captain just by smiling, I had so many connections in the game to the point that my name was never thrown out until Emily versus the Coliseum happened. And can I just say that there were only 4 possible people that could have been voted? Odds are all 4 names were going to be thrown out for that round. And I found, well, I earned 1 advantage and I got a half advantage. Even being like probably the worst physically fit person on that cast, too, I was never chosen anywhere near the end of the picking for challenges. So I want to defend that. I think I played a good game. Was it the best game? No. But it was a game that I will hold myself true to. And I think, given that I lasted a couple more rounds, I could have made it really far in the game if I would have made it to that jury phase. So anytime that I hear people try to say something about my game, I just want to remind you that this game is the iceberg effect, where you as viewers can only see this much of the iceberg, but there's so much that happens behind the scenes and so much that not only me but all the players had to go through. So it's hard to determine whether somebody does great in the game or somebody does really bad. But I can tell you every single person on this cast played their heart out, and nobody should be trashed for anything that they did in this game unless you purposely see it on camera that they did something fucking stupid. That's all I want to say.
So, what was your favorite part of the entire experience? It could be something that has to do with the game. Could be
Um,
something else.
I had so much fun in this experience. I have a couple, just a couple fun moments. Um, one, it was one of those nights, and we were in that one room that has like a bathroom in it. So Billy was taking a shower in the bathroom, and it was like me, Taylor, Josh, and Keaton in the room. And if you guys don't remember that one like TikTok trend with the Kesha song, it's like I hear your heartbeat to the beat of the drum,
Yes.
where you just like whack on the door really hard. We did that to Billy, and I'm pretty sure somebody has the video of it somewhere, but it's fucking hilarious. I love the water challenge that me and Josh almost won, the one where you throw sponges.
Yes.
I remember yelling at Josh so much. And the main thing I told him was, don't get my hair wet. Like,
Tough to
please.
do in that challenge.
I was like, don't get my hair wet, Josh. And then honestly, just every part of this experience was something that I don't regret and I loved. I love the cast. Obviously, I'm still friends with everybody. As you see, we do our weekly shots before the episodes.
What are you
Like,
guys drinking on that?
oh, a mix of different, like, sort of alcohols. So I always do vodka. Kira has, like, either moonshine or fireball all the time. Like,
Jeez, moonshine. Wow.
it up. Like, we we just want to have that little celebration. It's like, guys, we were iconic as fuck. Let's take a shot for it. Even after any of us are eliminated, we're still gonna keep it up.
Well, Emily, that's awesome to hear. I'm glad that you guys have that tradition, and I'm glad that you played this season. It was a lot of fun watching you play, and yeah, I appreciate you doing the exit interview with me.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Me and Billy never dated. We're not exes. We are not exes, guys. I don't know where that rumor came up, but we never dated. Okay, yeah.